Okay, so I have to tell you about something I went down a rabbit hole on this week. It's an entire genre of entertainment that is making $8 billion dollars a year. Yeah, 8 billion. It's consumed almost entirely by women. And most women I've mentioned this to have either never heard of it or they've been secretly watching it for months and didn't want to admit it. It's called vertical microdrama. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. I want to walk you through what this thing is, who's making it, who's watching it, and why it's blowing up. What is this thing? Basically, it's a soap opera. It's chopped into 1 to 3 minute episodes. It's shot vertically on your phone with a cliffhanger every 60 seconds. You watch them on apps. The biggest ones are Real Short and Drama Box. Okay, a single series might have 100 episodes. You watch the first few free, and then the app locks you out, and you either have to watch ads or pay actual money to unlock the rest. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? And the titles, oh my gosh, the titles. Let me just tell you a few. So one is The Double Life of My Billionaire Husband, Fake Married to My Billionaire CEO, and Return of the Abandoned Heiress. Okay, so these are real. I didn't make these up. The word billionaire is doing a lot of work in this genre. And listen, the plots are exactly what you'd guess from the titles. It's like a woman who's been wronged, a man who's either ridiculously rich or about to find out that she is, a villain who needs to be publicly humiliated. And by the end, there's justice. There's always justice, okay? It's Cinderella, but on your phone, and you keep paying to find out what happens next. Okay, so where does this come from? Because it didn't just appear out of nowhere. It actually came from China. In China, this format is called Duangju, which translates to short drama. It grew out of two things they'd already perfected: web novels you read chapter by chapter, and short vertical videos on apps like Douyin, which I'm sure I butchered it, I'm sorry, which is TikTok's Chinese sister. Then COVID happened. Movie theaters in China closed. People were stuck at home, they were scrolling, and this format, it just exploded. From 2021 to 2024, Chinese microdrama revenue jumped from about 500 million to almost 7 billion. In 2024, microdrama actually made more money in China than the entire Chinese box office. The phone format beat the movie theater. Yeah, the phone format beat the movie theater. A company called Crazy Maple Studio, backed by a Beijing-based digital publisher, launched an app called Real Short in 2022. And they did that to bring it to English-speaking audiences. By late 2023, Real Short was the #1 entertainment app on the US iOS App Store. By early 2024, there were 37 million downloads. And here's the thing. In the beginning, a lot of these were just Chinese productions dubbed into English. The mouths didn't match. The translations were a little rough. But did anybody care? No, not really. They watched anyway. Now, most of the top grossing ones are filmed in the US and the UK with American and British actors. But the playbook, the money, the format, still very much Chinese built. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting to me, because who's watching this, right? Women, mostly, by a lot. 70 to 80% of women across pretty much every survey out there. There's this woman named Jen Cooper. She's in the UK and she's in her mid-40s. And she stumbled onto Real Short and got completely hooked. So instead of just being embarrassed about it like a normal person, well, she's normal, but you know what I mean, she decided to study it. So she surveyed over 1,600 viewers. And what she found was that most of these women are romance novel readers who just couldn't find this kind of content anywhere else. Like, they really wanted these stories. They've always wanted these stories, right? Nobody was making them anymore. And then suddenly, here's an app. Almost 2/3 of viewers watch every day. And some of them have 40 of these apps on their phone. Yeah, shocking, right? 40. So the audience of about 35 to 54-year-old women, they're watching this serialized drama on screen, right, every day, and they're willing to pay for it. It's this soap opera audience. They were the General Hospital audience, the All My Children audience, the Days of Our Lives audience. I'm sure I'm bringing some of you back. In the 70s and 80s, tens of millions of women watched these shows every day. And then between 2009 and 2012, networks just canceled them. Like, All My Children Gone after 41 years. One Life to Live gone after 43 years. And Guiding Light gone after, what, like 72 years or something like that. The women didn't stop wanting the stories, they just stopped being made for them. And then 13 years later, something showed up on their phones. So here's what kills me about this genre. Every one of these shows follows essentially the same rules, like identical rules. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. So rule one is the hook. That has to land within the first 10 seconds. Not the first episode, the first 10 seconds. Hear me out, 10 seconds. Rule two, every episode ends on a cliffhanger, every single one. Rule three, the female lead is secretly more powerful than anybody knows. I like that. She's a real heiress or the actual CEO or about to inherit a fortune, something like that. She's never just the underdog at the end. And then rule four, the male lead has to realize he was wrong about her, like devastatingly wrong. And that realization isn't the side plot, that is the plot. And then rule five, the villain has to be humiliated in public, in a ballroom, in front of everyone who matters, like completely humiliated. I don't know if I love that, but secretly I think I do. I read this academic paper that called it, and I love this phrase, it's called simulacra subjectivity, which is just a fancy academic word for you want to see yourself win loudly in front of everyone who doubted you. Okay, so let me give you a few numbers because this is kind of wild. A whole microdrama series, like 80 to 100 episodes, costs around 100,000 to 200,000 to produce total, which to me sounds like a ton of money, but 80 to 100, that's a lot, right? So for comparison, a mid-tier Netflix show is spending around $4 to $6 million per episode. Per episode, okay? There's a microdrama called The Divorced Billionaire's Heiress. Yes, that's a real title. It costs less than 200,000 to make and reportedly grossed 35 million in North America. Girls, we need to jump on this bandwagon. I don't know what we're doing. And here's the stat to that broke my brain. In the last quarter of 2025, the average Reel Short user spent 35 minutes a day on the app. On Netflix, now remember, 35 minutes a day on the app, okay? On Netflix, 25 minutes. I know I spend more than that on Netflix, but whatever. And then Amazon Prime, 27 minutes. Reel Short, which most people couldn't name if you asked them, it's beating Netflix on the one metric that matters, time spent. So no, this isn't a niche, this isn't a novelty, this is a genuine competition. Now, I don't want to make this whole video and not say the harder stuff because there is some harder stuff. So first thing, the stories themselves, on the surface, they're about women winning, right? The titles are written from her perspective. She's the hero. Great. But if you look closer, the woman's win is almost always validated by the love of a rich, powerful man. She doesn't win because she's built something. She wins because he finally realizes how special she is. Is that a problem? Honestly, I'm not sure. I think it depends on whether you believe escapist fiction is shaping us or it's just reflecting what we already wanted. And some smart people disagree on that. What I do think is fair to ask is, why is this the fantasy that tens of millions of women keep choosing? What are we not getting somewhere else? Second thing, these apps are designed to be addictive. That's not me being dramatic. The cliffhanger architecture, the unlock system, the coin economy, that's kind of scary. All of this is literally engineered to mimic the same hooks that make mobile games hard to put down. And we all know how people get addicted to mobile games, right? And the audience is largely women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, who, let's be honest, are running on empty most of the time. I mean, between our careers, caregiving, relationships, all of that stuff that we have to do. Of course, an app that gives you pure emotional escape with zero effort is appealing to us. That's just us being human. And third thing, who's actually getting paid here? The platforms are mostly Chinese owned. The production runs on low budget labor and a lot of AI. And the audience spending real money on coins is mostly Western women. It's just worth knowing which side of the transaction you're on. Look, none of this means you can't enjoy vertical drama. Nobody wants to take away your phone. I'm just saying know what you're inside, okay? Just be careful. So you might be wondering, what is Hollywood doing about all of this? For a long time, nothing. And now they are panicking. In October of 2025, the big international content market where networks and streamers buy and sell shows, it's called MIPCOM, officially recognized vertical drama as its own category. That's the industry equivalent of saying, okay, fine, this is real. We have to be in on this, right? So Fox took an equity stake in a vertical video company and committed to producing 200 series. Disney Plus is reportedly exploring it, and Hallmark is in it. Univision is in. There's a startup literally trying to call itself the Netflix for vertical video. And the irony of all this is so rich. Hollywood had a front row seat to this format growing in China for nearly a decade. They could have moved on it early, but instead they just waited until it was $8 billion industry and the number one in the App Store, and now they're scrambling. So this kind of tells you everything about whose entertainment Hollywood thinks is worth paying attention to, right? Okay, let me bring this home because I didn't do this whole video just to gawk at a weird trend. I started researching this because microdrama kept coming up as one of the top content categories for women in the 35 to 70-year-old range. And that's us. That's this channel's world, right? I wanted to actually understand it. And what I kept landing on is this. Women in our age range are not a niche. We're one of the most economically powerful groups in the world. Go girls! We make most of the household decisions. We watch shows. We're loyal when something speaks to us. And mainstream entertainment has spent the better part of 2 decades giving us prestige dramas about men, or reality TV, or shows where any woman over 40, which is not even old, is the punchline or the mom or basically invisible. So when something showed up on our phones, something where women were at the center with stakes, with emotional intensity, with justice, even imperfect, even built on tropes that have problems, of course people went there. Of course they paid. They'd been waiting for something like this. Whether you love microdramas or you've never seen one, or the phrase fake married to my billionaire CEO makes you feel a very special kind of tired, the whole phenomenon is pointing at something real. It's pointing at a hunger we've been quietly carrying for a long time. And maybe the more interesting question isn't what people are watching, it's what it took to finally get someone to listen. Okay, I really want to know where you land on this. Have you watched any of these? Have you paid for coins? Have you binged 47 episodes of something in one sitting and felt no shame about whatsoever? And you shouldn't anyway. Tell me, please, in the comments. I want to hear it. And if this is the first time you've heard of any of this, are you curious or are you running the other way? Both are valid. So also please leave a comment. Let me know. This is part of a series I'm doing on the things actually shaping how women in our demographic spend our time and what it says about us and the world we're moving through. If this sounds like something that you would enjoy, please subscribe so that you don't miss what's next. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me, and I really appreciate your time. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.